Canon's EOS R7, their top of the line APS-C RF mount mirrorless camera. Right, so this is my experience of it. This is my own personal experience of it. You can take what you like from it. This was a little while ago. There, I believe there have been some updates to the firmware which may have fixed the main problem I had with this camera. If it has, never mind. Okay, so 32.5 megapixel APS-C sensor at the time of release. It was the highest resolution APS-C mirrorless camera until obviously Fuji brought out their XH2 and XT5 with that massive 40 megapixel sensor. So yes, 4K video, dual UHS-2 SD card slots. That is one of the main things I look for in modern cameras now. It has to have dual card slots, so you can have built-in redundancy where you write to both cards. So if you have one card fail, you've still got what's on the other card, still got a copy on the other card. And of course you can record a lot of video onto these cards now with their speed, as long as you're not too overindulgent in that respect, obviously, because there are overheating issues with all cameras, not just this one. All cameras will overheat eventually if you run the video for too long. So yes, what can I say? Camera is very easy to use, like all Canon cameras, very easy to use, enjoyable to an extent. It would have been more enjoyable if it wasn't for the one big problem I had with this camera, and that was that the image stabilization on the lens kept fighting with the IBIS in the camera. They weren't working together, they were working against each other, so a lot of the times I got a lot of slightly off focus images because one was fighting with the other. Yes, but what I did get, not bad, I have to say, not bad at all. Nice and sharp, good depth of field, or shallow depth of field in some cases. Nice colours, easy to edit. That's the other thing I love about Canon cameras, their colour science. Their files are very easy to edit. Most modern cameras are these days, but you do find some cameras have weird colour casts, and this one didn't. Even with the CPL filter in the adapter, which I purposely bought that one. It wasn't a case of it came with it or it was the only one I could find. I purposely bought it with that one because I use CPL filters, or I have used CPL filters in the past on a lot of lenses, and being able to just put any lens on it and it automatically has one is one of the big bonuses of the EF to RF adapter system that they have at Canon, and I'm really disappointed that Nikon didn't do the same thing, I have to say. It's the one thing I find a bit annoying about Nikon at the moment, is that they just didn't do it. So yes, nice and light camera, easy to use. That weird joystick thing with the winder that they experimented with, I'm so glad they got rid of that for the next round of cameras, because that was weird. I just didn't like it. Prefer the normal wheel that you have on the 7D, any of the single digit D numbers of the DSLRs, and the R5, the R6, R6 II. They all have that nice little dial that you can wind around with your thumb, and I just find that much easier. So yeah, I don't know really what else to say about this camera, actually. I mean, you have a look at the pictures, you see, it's got good image quality coming out of this camera, despite it still has. I don't understand why Canon still have the anti-aliasing filter. That's the only thing I don't understand. Their biggest rivals, Nikon and Sony, don't, and in fact neither do Fuji, and they haven't for however long they've been making their line of cameras. So I don't understand why Canon are persisting with it, because it takes a tiny bit of sharpness out of the picture. Is it something they just can't engineer into their sensors, or is it something else? I don't know. So yes, who is this camera aimed at? This camera is aimed at, I would say, because of its burst rate, wildlife, sports. Because remember, with the 1.6 crop factor, you can stick a full frame lens on there, and a 24-70. I'll have to you do the maths for that, but yeah, it gives you that extra reach. So 100 millimeters is 160 millimeter lens. So say you buy a 70-200, that 200, that's now 320 equivalent, because you got the crop factor. So yes, this is definitely aimed for people who like shoot wildlife, so like birds. It's something you can't get close to, basically. But that's not to say you can't use it in a studio environment for portraits or for landscapes. I mean, that pixel count means you can. It just means, especially for landscapes, you've got to get a very, very wide APS-C lens to get the same wide angle that you would get on a full frame camera. So that's the only real drawback, is the crop factor. I'm really surprised they didn't do something about that crop factor when they made the R7, which is their first APS-C RF mount. They could have changed the crop factor to the same as the other camera manufacturers, Sony, Nikon and Fuji, which is all 1.5. It would have been fast. I just don't understand that. Maybe somebody can tell me why they just can't do it. I really don't understand. Because it's not like this camera came out and they had no or hardly any lenses that would fit on it, because it's the same RF mount that's on all the full frame cameras. That's the one big good plus point they've done with this camera and all their APS-C mirrorless cameras now, is they all have the RF mount, which means if you can buy if you buy native RF glass, and it's the full frame native glass, not the APS-C, or what do they call it, the RF lenses. If you don't get the RF lenses but get the full frame lenses instead, it means if you decide to go upgrade to one of the full frame cameras, all your lenses will work on it because they all fit. It's not like if you went from a 7D to a 5D Mark III and you only had cropped lenses on your APS lenses for your 7D. You then have to ditch all of those lenses and buy new ones to work on the 5D Mark III. Even though, again, the lens mount on those two cameras is exactly the same. It's the EF lens mount. So they've been very smart in that respect, and it took Sony a while to work that out, that they had. Well, Sony did it as well, didn't they, with their mirrorless cameras, their 1000 series cameras. I think they're up to the 7000 now, and their A7 series cameras have all got the same lens mount, while just different size sensors on there. So yes, that's a big plus for this for Canon, because they had the EFM series before, and that was a different mount, and that was a mistake. And I'm so glad they decided to kill that lot off and just go, nope, we're going to bring out all these equivalent cameras on the RF mount, and you can buy those instead. So yeah. So yes, getting back to this, my experience with the R7. I found the EVF to be too small, and I wear glasses, so I like to have a bit of a bigger EVF. It's too small, too low resolution, and it did feel a little bit plasticky, I have to say, especially when you unfolded the articulating screen. I felt that was very much something that could get broken if you weren't careful. I just used to fold it in so that when I press because I'm a left eye dominant as well, so when my cheek would press up against where the screen would be, it wouldn't be, it'd be pressing on the back because it's folded in. So that again is a really good thing. I don't understand why Fuji have gone backwards in that one with their X-T5. I understand it's a very polarizing issue, but I wish they'd made it so there was some way you could fold it in or cover it, or you could get like a little clip-on cover that covers it up, or if it was just more flush, or the eyepiece stuck out further, you know, any of those things, but no. So yeah, I can't think of anything else to say for this camera really. I hope you enjoy the pictures, and I haven't waffled on too long. If I have, just turn the sound off and watch the nice pictures. Okay, until next time, goodbye.